Good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Robert Spetty here with WesternPacificWeather.com. It's currently the 12th of June, 2011, and starting you off here today with a little clip of a Yokohama Bay Stars game. Tons of fun. Actually, one of the funnest events I have ever attended out here in Japan. Really a good time overall. Even if you don't know very much Japanese, you'll still have tons of fun. And I mean, come on, it's one of the few events where actually, baseball events at least I've ever been to, where you have cheerleaders that are there as shown here. But this video was not actually taken yesterday, taken a few days ago, because yesterday there was a high amount of precipitation over across much of Japan today. It would have rained out any particular Yokohama Bay Stars game. And all of that rain was due to this area of low pressure that is well northeast of Japan today, actually starting to occlude out here. That's when you start to get this Kama effect due to the cold air from the cold front overrunning the warm air associated with the warm front. You start to get that effect going on. Attached to that, though, is a stationary front and another area of low pressure developing over the East China Sea today, going to bring some more precipitation across much of southern Japan and most of Japan here today into tomorrow morning. So just continuing to watch this up here. But as shown on KMA's analysis here, it already is producing some precipitation over Kyushu here, extending out into eastern China, and also seeing some thunderstorms down here associated with the remnants of tropical depression Sarika down in this region. Really not too much left of that, but as far as organization, but there is still some upward vertical motion or vorticity associated with it. So it's producing a couple of these pop-up thunderstorms around the regions down there. And moving south, we continue to watch this easterly wave right in here over Visayas and Mindanao, seeing some heavy precipitation across the islands today. But continuing to watch this right now does not look at it prime for any tropical development, but looking at the visible imagery and rather zoomed in here, but just showing western Mindanao here and western Visayas right in over in this region. And you see some of these higher cloud tops right in here, these cumulonimbus tops kind of peeking out in this region right in here. This is just showing some heavy thunderstorms out here. So definitely if you're fishing in any of the coastal areas out in this region, or just basically going to the beach here, I would definitely keep an eye out for some of these storms, and also the heavy precipitation as it kind of wraps around, and it could create some localized flooding throughout this region. But as far as the Mindanao metropolitan area, it looks like it should remain relatively clear down there. Actually, just showing some of these areas of precipitation likely here on the GFS model as of 000900 this morning. Seeing that heavier precip down to the southwest here, also indicating this heavy precip starting to form up over much of Kyushu today. But if we scroll along here, you start to see that precip over Kyushu start to work its way up over the Kanto Plain and much of southeastern Japan here, southeastern Honshu, by the morning of the 13th. Then high pressure will begin to ridge in and kind of push that towards the south. Also down here towards the south, you have these easterly waves still working its way through much of southern the Philippines, but much of the northern Philippines looks like it should remain clear, especially Luzon. Looks like it should have some pretty nice days the next couple days, just a little free from the southwest monsoon down there. But just scrolling out a little bit farther though, you just continue to see that precipitation over the southern Philippines and also that stationary front lingering south of Japan. You really have to go out all the way until the 16th when you start to see the next area of low pressure develop off of that stationary front and work its way over Japan as indicated here. And also on the 16th, GFS is also picking up a very large area of convection out throughout this entire region. GFS sometimes does overdo this precipitation model in the long range, so just want to take this kind of lightly, but you still want to continue to watch this out here. As far as Thailand as well, you continue to see this precip out here in the Andaman Sea, all this associated with upward vertical motion vorticity area, also associated with the southwest monsoon starting to produce up here and work its way towards the northeast. So continuing to watch that out there for any development, but right now in the next several days, none of this areas look prime for any tropical development. Just continuing also to watch the stationary front up here. And moving south, a trough just off of Queensland here does continue to linger, producing some heavy convection out in this region. Brisbane could see some light precip associated with that, but overall though, looks like Cairns and much of northern Australia going to remain clear today. Actually, southern Australia as well, as far southeast as Sydney, going to also remain clear. We'll get in the precip model here just in a moment as well. Also just off towards the west, another area of low pressure running around these 30s and 40s down here is starting to track its way off towards the east northeast right now. So Perth is also going to see an increase in precip in the coming. But as of right now though, that area precip off to the west of Perth, we are going to see that continue to track off towards the east, and also that trough lingering out here producing that precip just off of northeastern Australia, but also little areas of convection here just blowing up associated with that trough just off of Queensland and actually getting the South Wales down in here. But Brisbane seeing some precip right now. Actually looking at the rate out of Brisbane, actually seeing some higher cloud tops out in here indicated in the red and yellow, so some thunderstorms just south of Brisbane really being produced out here, some of these areas right in here. And also farther to the south, actually coming out of Newcastle's radar, seeing some higher cloud tops down here as well, so some localized thunderstorms being produced. So continuing to watch these throughout the day, but expecting them to work their way off towards the southeast As the trough starts to dissipate and actually work its way off towards the east here by tomorrow morning, or actually here showing on the morning of the 13th and now the afternoon of the 13th, this trough really does start to linger and move off towards the east. Still going to see some remaining convection here over Brisbane, so continue to watch it and to change to tomorrow. You still could see some isolated showers actually, but overall though the bulk of this precip is going to move off towards the east. But looking out into the future though, that overall trough is going to continue to linger and produce another low starting here on the 15th into the 16th, and that's going to be the big kicker. That's going to produce some heavy rain showers along Brisbane and Sydney, as far south of Sydney here as this starts to develop. And specifically, sorry about the little scrolling around here, specifically though, New Zealand's going to get really hard hit on the 18th as that develops up into a 990 millibar, actually excuse me, it gets even lower than that, into the 970s here as it starts to move its way towards the South Island and the North Island. So we're going to see some heavy precipitation here on the 18th into the 19th. So definitely if you plan on flying in any of these areas, I would double check the weather out here. Still pretty long range, but continue to monitor it here. Also Sydney, definitely going to see some outer rain bands associated with that. And I say outer rain bands, just some of these extensions of this low pressure as it starts to cool off. But that is all for right now, everybody. I hope these updates are informative and helpful. And if you are, please subscribe by clicking in this box up here in the top right. That is always helpful, and definitely trying to get the word out here on a lot of these storms and updates, especially when typhoon starts to increase here. I definitely want to help getting some more information and try to get the people aware of the potential of destruction with these typhoons. But that is all for right now. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, as usual, you can post them in the comment box below, or you can email me here at westpacweather@gmail.com. So thanks again for listening, everybody. I hope you have a great Sunday.